making it that I know of. But if they did, who would you cast? And I have to tell you, I spent a lot of time on this. Probably way too much time. A lot of time just sitting here going, see, you could have this person as, oh. And this was fun. So I hope that you guys enjoy this too, because I really enjoyed putting this together. So, what if they remade Alien? Now, our first character is Lambert. Now, Lambert is, as you know, one of those characters who's probably the closest to the almost stereotypical female that was in movies. Screamed a lot, very emotional, whatever. It's almost a thankless role, but she does it great. And she has some really killer little zingers that I really like. In fact, the whole movie, come on, it's Ridley Scott. Can Ridley Scott do any wrong in my eyes? I don't think so. So I started thinking about who would make a good Lambert. If you were going to cast this movie right now, who would make a good Lambert? My first one, because it's almost, like I said, it's almost a thankless role, but I think in the right hands, you could get something really special. First one, Lily James. You saw Baby Driver, you know what she can do. That's really the only thing I've seen her in, but she impressed me so much that I can't wait to see what she does next. Yeah, I think she could do it. I think she could pull it off. An interesting one. This was actually brought up by my wife. I don't think it would even, like, if this was real, right? If they said, yes, we're making Alien next year, and we're getting a bunch of people together, and they asked this person to play this part of Lambert, there's no way. There's no way. I don't see any way, shape, or form that she would do it, but it's Carey Mulligan. I love Carey Mulligan. I've loved her in every single role I've seen her in, but she's also very particular about the roles that she plays. So there's not a chance. To me, there's not a chance in hell she would do this, but I feel like she would make a great Lambert. Now, I think Lily James is probably perfect, but another option would be Elizabeth Olsen. Do you think Elizabeth Olsen could play Lambert? Crying, screaming, frantic? I think Elizabeth Olsen could do anything she wanted to do. Honestly, she's amazing. So, yeah. So next one, that's probably, in my opinion, probably the one that I was almost like least interested in as far as the part itself, how interesting the part could be. The next one, Kane. What do you guys think? You guys have any ideas of who could play Kane? Gotta hydrate, guys. You got to. Of course, this is played by John Hurt. If you've seen the movie, John Hurt is, well, he's always been an amazing actor, but he really started being in a lot of things. And he's got that voice that's just amazing. Now, the way that I looked at this is I was trying to think of a British or UK actor that was around the same age as John Hurt was. And I think John Hurt, did I say John Hurd? John Hurt. John Hurd is a different man. I was trying to think of somebody in the same age range. And I think would make a perfect Kane would be Mr. Paul Bettany. Can you see him playing that role? I can see it. And the way that I'm looking at this, I should preface all of this by saying in a lot of ways, my top choice is somebody that you wouldn't expect in that role. I love the idea of Paul Bettany because he's been the hero in a lot of movies and a lot of shows. So the idea that he would be, well, let's be honest, the first man out, it'd be interesting. But I love Paul Bettany as an actor. I think he's amazing. And I think for the role of Kane, honestly, these two characters, Lambert and Kane, are probably the least, let's be honest, the least interesting. But there's potential there. And Paul Bettany could bring it. The other one I had as an option, and only because I couldn't find really another part for him in the movie, but I thought, yeah, I think he could do it. Old Ewan McGregor. Now, I picked Obi-Wan still just because, man, look at the quality on that still. I love Ewan McGregor. I've been a fan of his ever since Trainspotting. And when I heard that he was going to be playing, ooh, that's a good one, Octavius. I'll get to that in just a second. When I heard that he was going to be playing Obi-Wan, I was like, George, you're the man. You're the man. You just said Liam Hemsworth, Octavius. He would be good. He would be good. Because I like the idea of playing almost against type. The only thing that would clue people in is that he's not exactly A-list. Like he's more utilized in the smaller supporting roles. But I like where your head's at. That's a good one. I like that a lot. But next on the list is probably, I mean, gosh, what a fun character. Brett. I love this character is right. It's just all the time. Just like, all right, let's get going. Right. Just always says it. I love it. I love Harry Dean Stanton. He's been in tons and tons of movies. I love seeing young Harry Dean Stanton, like in The Godfather 2. When I recently rewatched that, I always forget that Harry Dean Stanton is in it. As one of the, I guess, FBI agents that's guarding Frankie and Tangeli. But he's got a really great part in this movie. So, basically, second man out, right? So who could play this one? I guarantee you there's going to be some that are probably going to be like, Rob, you're insane. You're insane. I'm kind of curious if anybody has any ideas of who they would pick. Again, I think he was in his late 40s or early 50s when filming this. My first choice. My first choice is, let's just say it's outside the box thinking. I think he's perfect for the role. I think he could bring so much to it, but not a chance in hell would he agree to play such a bit part, unless he just really liked the script. And that's Robert Downey Jr. Ever since I saw Zodiac, I thought this guy can do anything. He can do anything. And I would love to see him play a part like that. Little side note, almost every shot of Robert Downey Jr. that's not in a movie, he's wearing sunglasses or some sort of shades. Is that just his thing now? Or does he have some sort of eye thing? I'm just curious. But he looks sharp. But I mean, just think about it. Minimal makeup, scruffy him up. He could play the hell out of that part. At a good old Brett. Right. I just love the idea I love the idea of Robert Downey Jr. being in it. To play such a strange role. It would be so much fun. But next on the list is somebody that's probably, and this was somebody, in fact, the next three, because I was dead set on Robert Downey Jr. My wife came up with these three. And I thought, yeah, all three of these could do it. Possibly. Adrian Brody. You think Adrian Brody could do that? I think he's probably the most like Harry Dean Stanton in appearance. So I get that. And he's definitely got the ability. But I really like the idea of Adrian Brody in it. And he's probably more likely to do it than Robert Downey Jr., for sure. Of course, Adrian Brody Academy Award winner, all that stuff. I mean, come on. The guy could do it. What would the guy want to do it? Another story. I guess it depends on how, in our fictional remake of Alien, would it actually be the same story? Would it be almost like a shot-for-shot remake like Psycho? Who knows? I didn't get that far into the idea. I was just trying to think, hey man, it was fun to do that whole, like, let's recast a movie. But next on the list, DJ Qualls. Now when my wife said that, I thought, has he been in anything lately? Turns out he has. He has been in some things. And he's definitely an odd-looking gent. But I think he could work. I mean, he's basically playing a mechanic. That's really what Brett is. For sure. And finally, actually, this one was my idea. Because my wife picked him for something different. So we'll see him again. Timothy Olyphant. I just think it would be, again, I like the idea of casting against type. I like the idea of, if you've never seen a movie before and you've got the cast there and you've seen some people you've seen some people in some other movies before, you automatically think that some people are going to survive longer than others. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem with casting in a movie like this. The actors come with their own baggage, and you've got to work around that. But I think he could do it, and I think it's very against his usual type. I think that'd be fun. I just think it'd be fun. Next on the list, and this is the reason we're here. Let's be honest, okay? I saw some art. It was a poster of Alien that somebody had drawn. I think it was on Twitter. I can't remember where I saw it. Anyway, it was poster art for Alien. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. But then when I got down and got down to Parker's face, I was like, that doesn't look like Yaphet Kotto. And that's how this whole idea got sparked up again. Was the idea of mistaking one of the actors in this poster drawn by a fan, mistaking him for someone else, and then running with it. So it's all Yaphet Kotto. By the way, I've always liked Yaphet Kotto. I wish he was in more stuff. But he's getting up there. He's getting up there in years. So again, I tried to think of people that would work best for the role. This one's a little different. I start with the guy that I mistook for him on the poster. Then there's the guy that probably a lot of people would pick. And then to me, there's the final amazing, there's no question, if they were making it, you got to get him for the movie. First is Forrest Whitaker. It literally looked like Forrest Whitaker on the poster. Now, I think Forrest Whitaker would be amazing in that role. The problem is he's almost 60 now. So I just don't know if he has the look for Parker. That's just my opinion. But I love Forrest Whitaker. I've enjoyed his work for many, many years. I mean, look at him in Black Panther, for example. In Black Panther, he's starting to show his age a little bit. That's not a bad thing. It just means that he may not be perfect for Parker. Next on the list is probably somebody that you'd almost, in this age range of Parker, you'd kind of have to go, yeah. Dang it, it skipped. That's my final one. That's, to me, is who's perfect. Is Winston Duke. Now, what happened to my guy? Let's see. Give me a second. I named it wrong. That's okay. We'll get to him. To me, you've got Winston Duke would be perfect for this part. I don't think there's anybody better. I really don't. I think you'd have to like I can see my cast that I had in my head. Winston Duke is perfect as Parker. But I think many people would probably go with Idris Elba. That's probably their people's first choice. The problem is Idris Elba had already been in Prometheus, and he's definitely moving up, I would say, in the A-list, B-list scale. So, I don't know. It's got to be Winston, though, right? It's got to be. It's got to be Winston. Awesome for Parker. Okay, so let's skip over Idris. Now we've got to take care of Dallas here. Of course, this is Tom Skerritt. Tom Skerritt's been in, many movies. I think he's in his 80s now. I think he was. I don't know how old he is there. I think he's in his mid 40s. Of course, most people probably know him from either this or Viper from Top Gun. He was in Steel Magnolias. He's in a lot of movies. He's been in a ton. Contact. So what you need for this part, you need someone who's he's got to be strong enough that Brett and Parker, they'll mouth off to him, but when it really comes down to it, they got to listen to him. He's got to command that respect. He's got to have that charisma. Basically putting the smack down on people when they're not doing what they're supposed to do. He's in charge. My first choice, my first idea was Colin Farrell. Now, this image of Colin is older. Definitely older. Karl Urban is a fantastic one. For sure, Karl Urban would be great in this. But I've got some ideas about Karl Urban. I don't know. I don't know if he would work as Dallas the way I envision Dallas. It doesn't mean he couldn't do it. Karl Urban is very talented. But I love me some Colin Farrell. And that sounded weird a little bit. That's okay. That's okay. I'm comfortable. Okay. Colin Farrell is a fantastic actor. He's a good-looking man. This is an older picture. He does look a little grayer, which is what I was kind of going for. I couldn't find any candids of him, in the time allotted, because I got to tell you, these took a lot longer to put together than I thought they would, to find really good pictures of all these people and then rename them all so they would work in the somewhat work. But next on the list, I think Oscar Isaac would be perfect for this role. Because to me, there's almost a hint of, I don't know. I don't know how to put it. It's got to be somebody. I think you've got to have charisma. You've got to have the strength for people to listen to you. But you got to be good looking. Almost a little gruff. You know what I mean? I think it'd be good. Now, the one thing that I will say, for the most part, I didn't go outside of any gender lines or race lines. For the most part. I mean, Oscar Isaac, he's Latino, right? I believe. But I still think he would work. Now, of course, my wife's idea was Timothy Olyphant. Apparently, she likes Timothy Olyphant, and I should look out for him. So if I hear he's going to be in the area, I need to make sure my wife is busy that day doing something else, because apparently she's got a thing for him. That's okay. But yeah, I think Timothy Olyphant would be great too. I really do. But Oscar's my pick. I like Carl Urban though. Carl Urban is a good idea. Next, this one's weird too. It's good old Ash. Ian Holm. Of course, I mean, I think most people know who Ian Holm is. Of course, is Bilbo. And then, like, to me, Ash is, like, when you say Ian Holm, I think of Ash. But I love the warmth that he brought to Bilbo. And when he turns into scary Bilbo there for a second, it was genuinely kind of scary. And then you got, The Fifth Element. But he's been in so many things. He's been in so many great movies. In a lot of, I would say, more supporting roles. But Ian Holm's awesome. So who do you pick? Anybody got some ideas? Because, again, I was trying to go against type. And I was trying to say, or trying to look at it like, if somebody had never seen Alien and they had no idea what to expect, who would be somebody that people would trust? Which is maybe the wrong way to look at it. Because I remember first time I saw Alien when I was probably way too young. Kind of curious, Dad, do you remember? I was probably 10 or 11. I just thought Ash was a prick. So I don't know. I just tried to go wild on some of these picks. Because I like the idea of almost a Rian Johnson-esque play against type. Play against expectations. My first, Simon Pegg. I love the idea of him playing a guy that's such a prick, but not in a funny way. Because he's played a prick before. Let's be honest. I love Simon Pegg. But man, him as Ash could be really interesting. And to see him go a little crazy would be fun. That was the first person that came to my head. I will say in this list, I think I like my last pick the best of these. But we've got Tom Hiddleston again playing against type. And the reason that I went this route is because if you know who Ash is, you know what Ash is, Then you know that Michael Fassbender played David in Prometheus and Alien Covenant. I really like the idea of them almost looking angelic. So I thought Tom Hiddleston would be a fun, and come on, Tom Hiddleston could totally play a prick. I love Tom Hiddleston though. He's great. And he's really funny. Really funny guy. Next on the list, Benedict. I'm trying to think of the really, really funny screw up of his name. Balderdash Candy Snatch or something weird. Sorry, that sounded like a porn name. Anyway, yeah. Benedict can definitely play prickish. And it would be really fun to see him lose it. I love the idea. I love the idea of that. Because I think that this is probably the one where, like, if people were putting together their dream cast, this is probably, Benedict would probably be number one. Or in the top three. That's kind of look, I'm just trying to think of everybody, and I'm probably forgetting a lot. Like, I didn't actually think of Liam Hemsworth at all. But Liam Hemsworth would be good for Brett. Brett, right? Or Kane. Actually, he could play both. He could probably do both of those. And I mean, you could even like if you wanted to play against play along the different racial lines, you could even say Pedro Pascal as Brett. I think he'd be good in that. I just love this. I love thinking about like who you would pick. And no, I will be honest, I didn't pick Adam Driver for anybody. Even though Adam Driver occurred to me for Dallas, but I was like, eh. And I was like, he could probably play Brett. You know? If you saw him in what's that movie with Channing Tatum and Daniel Craig? Logan Lucky. If you saw him in that, plays it like a trucker, kind of southern guy, you'd probably do it. But this is my favorite choice. Johnny Lee Miller. If you've seen him in Elementary, he's great in that. He's really, really great. And I feel like he's probably got the look of Ian Holm. He's probably got the swagger, if you could say that, of Ian Holm. I feel like he's got everything. He's got the looks. He's got the whole everything. You know, he even sometimes talks like him. So I think that would be a lot of fun. And finally, we've got most people's favorite character of Ripley. Who do you pick as Ripley in our fictional, not happening today? I mean, who knows? They probably talked about it. They probably said, you know, we could probably just remake Alien. But I love Alien so much, guys. I love it. I don't know if it's in my top 5 of all time, but it's got to be way up there. Now, look, I got to be honest with this one. I went all over the map until I found who I thought would be perfect. And what I was trying to do was match that same sort of thing. Somewhat against type, maybe, but not really. What I was really going for was Sigourney Weaver's moxie. I wanted her to be attractive. This is going to sound like I'm in a meat market or something. But it's like I wanted her to be attractive, but not like... Because, like, that's the weird thing about Sigourney. She can be... When she's made up, she looks insanely beautiful. But in Aliens, she looks run down. She looks like a regular person. She looks like she worked on a truck, on a mining rig. You know what I mean? Daisy Ridley, an interesting choice. Gosh, even their physique is similar. That's interesting. She's not on my list. That's a good one. I didn't think of her. But we'll see what you think when I get to my pick. So the first one we've already seen. Elizabeth Olsen. I love the idea of... The thing about Ripley is she's got to show vulnerability, but her strength shouldn't feel like it comes out of nowhere. You should feel like, she had the strength within her all along. Which I hate that kind of stuff. But you know what I mean? It's like, to me, Elizabeth Olsen is one of those where I feel like she has both of those things. She has this vulnerability, but she could be really strong too. And because I couldn't have Adam Driver in my list, I put Scarlett Johansson in the list too. I also feel like she has both of those things. The problem is, and let's be honest, Scarlett Johansson is pretty good looking. I feel like she has that. Now this next one was my wife's pick. Alicia Vikander. And it's weird if you look at the pictures that I chose, I tried to pick pictures that weren't like, oh my gosh, she looks amazing. She looks so beautiful. I tried to find them as people. And this looks like her on the street or something. But she's a really beautiful woman. I feel like she could handle this role. I almost feel she's too childlike though. It's the only thing that I don't like about having her in that role. She's got too much of a baby face, if that makes sense. But hey, it could probably work. Now, Rayna Baccarin. The only thing about her is because I almost feel like she's too beautiful. But at the same time, I've seen her in roles where she's kind of dressing down. I feel like she could do it. The problem is, I haven't seen her in anything that really projects a whole lot of strength. Doesn't mean that she doesn't have strength in those roles, but I feel like she's always been sort of not the strongest person in the cast. Mary Elizabeth Winstead. And the reason I thought of her was because of the trailer for Birds of Prey. Some shot that made me... I just remembered it when I was thinking about this. And I thought she would be great. And even her hairstyle fits. But she looks like she fits Sigourney so well. I feel like depending on the budget, they might go with someone else, but I feel like she's the pick. And let's be honest, all of these people on this list have the ability to pull any of these roles off. Okay? Let's be honest. This isn't like an award show. But it's just a lot of fun to think about. And it kind of gets your mind working. What do you guys think? You think that's a good idea? You think they should just go ahead and remake Alien? I mean, screw it. You know, they've had 42 different sequels. Let's just remake the best one. I'd really like to know what you think, so please leave your comments below on what we talked about. And of course, consider hitting that subscribe button and give it a like if you enjoyed it. It really does help, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.